Hello, beautiful. It's good to see you here. Today, I want to talk about the spoon theory. Apparently, there's a whole community of people who know about the spoon theory, and I'm just coming across it, and I want to share what I'm discovering. As some of you know, I'm Annie, and I've lived with chronic illness for pretty much all my life, starting at 11 with ulcerative colitis, had reconstructive surgery when I was 28, and I lived with chronic all kinds of things for decades now. I've only recently found the courage to start talking about the fact that I live with chronic illness. Today, I'm coming with the spoon theory. The spoon theory was born in 2003 in a blog post by a woman called Christine Miserandino. I'm going to put the link below because her article is just so important. The story is that she was at a restaurant with her girlfriend, and she had been suffering from chronic illness, lupus in her case, for many years, and her girlfriend knew well about that. At some point, her friend asked, "But what does it feel like? Not physically, but feel like to be sick every day. What does it feel like to be you?" And Christine had this brilliant illumination of how to explain it. So she grabbed a dozen spoons from the table, handed the spoons to her friend, and said, "Okay, let's do this." She explained each spoon represents a task or an activity or something that you have to do in your day. And if you're a healthy person, you have an unlimited amount of spoons for your day. So you wake up and you have the freedom of imagining and creating your day. As long as you can fit things in time, you can actually do the things that you plan. But when you live with chronic illness, you wake up every day with, say, a dozen spoons. When you wake up and you have 12 spoons, you really have to start strategizing how you're going to use them. And using the spoons is not like for big things. Waking up when you're in pain takes one of your spoons. Showering, if you're gonna wash your hair and blow dry them, that's like a big spoon. Stretch for 15 minutes, here's a spoon from your day. Go for a 15-minute walk, oh yeah, here's another spoon. Want to prepare a little food for the week? Well, there's a couple of spoons. So that's how it goes when you have a limited amount of spoons. Let me give you a few examples. Whenever I change my bed, I actually do the sheets and the pillowcases on 2 different days. Because for me, taking them out, making the wash, putting them back, it uses one of my spoons. And if I'm gonna do, okay, I use a lot of pillows, but if I'm gonna change the cases for the 7 pillows in my bed, well, that's another chunk of energy that I know represents one of my spoons for the day. That's how quickly our spoons go. And every time one goes out, you're already beginning to negotiate, trade, plan, see what you're taking out of your day and into your day, because now you have 7 spoons left for your day. Here's another silly, simple example, silly for somebody who's healthy. I went to the garage a couple of days ago. I go back, pick up the car. I'm not super happy. There's still some issues with it. So the guy at the garage says, "Well, if you have time, I can just jump in the car and let's go around and you can tell me what are the things that are still bothering you." And immediately the transactions start in my head. Well, I've already ran 3 errands. When I go back home, I know I have to prepare lunch. I have some phone calls, some work I want to do. So in that moment, that simple thing, I was there. The guy was ready to just jump in the car. I actually said, "I'm sorry, I don't have time. I will come back another day." So now it goes back on the list for a spoon for another day. The other day, I had something to fix over the phone with a company. My sister said, "Here's the phone number, just call, they're really nice. It's just a phone call." And right away in my head, it goes, okay, well, I already have like 8 things that I want to do. And even if they're just phone calls, it actually takes a spoon. Even these kinds of things are not as simple. I have yet another example. My brother gave me some fresh chaga. It's a mushroom to make tea. Can't wait to start drinking chaga. When I realized that I couldn't just shave it easily, I called him and said, "Well, how do I prepare this chaga?" He said, "Just get a chisel and a hammer and cover it with a cloth and just hammer and make the chunks that you want to make." I thought, here's a spoon. And so for weeks now, the Chaga chunk has been sitting on the counter. I really want to start drinking the Chaga, but I haven't been able to fit it yet in a day and prioritizing as using one of my 12 spoons. You know, I love to go to the park here by the ocean, which is extraordinary with the big forest. It replenishes me, it rejuvenates me. I need it. It's a great, great source of energy. But in order to go there, it uses a big spoon. Getting dressed, taking the car out, parking, walking down there and coming back, for sure is another spoon. I love going with Dan, my husband, to go adventuring on the road. I'm allergic to canola oil, so I can't eat anything that is sold in 99% of stores or restaurants. So anytime we want to go, I have to start by planning for all the food that I'm going to need, not knowing how I'm going to feel, if I'm going to get dizzy, if I'm going to get nauseous. I have to bring my medication. I have to bring everything that I need in order to go enjoy myself. So it's this trade-off always of knowing, well, I can do this, but then it's costing this. It's this constant calculating and bargaining and negotiating with the amount of energy that you have in a day. And that is this constant battle in our heads about wanting, desiring, but living with a limited amount of spoons. And that is something that people who are healthy, who have an abundance of spoon, don't even have to think about these things as actually needing to be thought about. And what it made me think of is it's a little bit like money. Morgan Freeman said, money is unimportant unless you don't have any. So I guess spoons are not important unless you only have 12. It's the same kind of freedom of choice that having money provides in life. And when you're really short on money, you have to think about every dollar you're going to spend. If you're going on a vacation with a friend who has unlimited funds and you show up for the vacation and you have $50 in your pocket, it's not the same experience. And understand, you can't borrow spoons from anybody. You can borrow money, but you can't borrow spoons. So waking up every day with a limited amount of spoons, I can tell you, and everybody who lives with chronic illness can tell you, whether it's IBD, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, or even depression, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, it's frustrating. And it gets very angering because it doesn't mean that we don't have the desires to do as much as everybody else. I'm an organizer, I'm an adventurer, an explorer. I love to live through excitement, and the frustration of every day having to negotiate, well, what can I do and what am I not going to do because I only have 12 spoons. So, for people who live with a chronic illness, we have a language now. We're spoonies. I'm a spoonie, you're a spoonie. At least now you know that you're not alone, I'm not alone. We have this tribe of spoonies. It might not be a tribe that we really wanted to be part of, but it's our tribe. And it's good to have a vocabulary, an image, something that we can easily explain to people how our life is a constant transaction of everything we want to do. It doesn't mean we can't have a rich life, but we have to deal with that. So if you're a healthy person and someone in your surrounding lives with a chronic illness, try to integrate this visual of the spoon theory and understand that anytime that they don't want to drive somewhere, that making a phone call or planning something or getting on FaceTime, every time we think of doing any of these things, we are using a spoon. So keep that in mind. It's going to help us feel less guilty for our limitations because it comes with the territory. We feel guilty because we can't keep up with the Joneses, and it's going to help to make relationships a lot more harmonious. So that's it for today. Hopefully it connects with some of you. And Spoonies, I'm with you. I support you. I'm rooting for you because I'm rooting for me. And it is certainly my personal journey of breaking through my silence, a lifetime of silence. Love you, and I will see you soon. Bye. After you subscribe to this channel, come on over to anypaquette.com and pick up your free copy of my manifesto for the chronically different. If you live with a chronic illness, you need to read this. That's also where you'll get more details about my upcoming book, A Splendid Mess. Yes, it's a memoir. Once you're there, remember that, like me, my website still needs work. So please be patient with both of us.